Hi, I'm Dr. Philip Ovadia, your guide to breaking the cycle of poor metabolic health. Today, we're going to do a deep dive on this because most people underestimate the power of their own influence on their family's health. Here's what we're going to talk about today. Setting a good dietary example for your family. Understanding the impact of the standard American diet on your family's health. And making lifestyle changes that your family can't ignore. Let's jump right in. First, let's talk about how you can set the dietary example for your family. This starts by controlling the shopping cart to influence your family's metabolic health positively. If the foods that have a negative impact on your family's metabolic health aren't available at home, and instead you have plenty of the foods that support good metabolic health, this will set the example and help all of the members of your family to start on the pathway to good metabolic health. Now, you want to make sustainable dietary changes that the whole family can enjoy together. And cooking good food should be a family activity. Get your kids involved in this. Show them how to make their own food so they're not going to be beholden to the food companies and the processed near food objects that are so ubiquitous in our environment. While you're doing that, you can educate your family about the benefits of whole foods over processed options. One of the things that I like to do is challenge my children to come up with recipes for some of the processed foods that they might be tempted by. That's a great way to educate them about the difference between what might look like the same food, for instance, bread, but there's a whole world of difference between the processed option that you're going to get in a package in the supermarket and the options that you might make at home. Next, let's understand the impact of the standard American diet. One important thing to do is to recognize how processed foods dominate our diet and their effects on our metabolic health. And a great way to do this is with a trip to the supermarket. And just note how much of the supermarket is processed food. It's really pretty amazing how little non-processed food or minimally processed food is available in supermarkets today. It's really usually just those outer aisles in most supermarkets that contain things like fresh meat, fresh vegetables, and dairy. If you have previous generations of your family available to talk to, parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, ask them what trips to the market used to be like. They may remember a time before the supermarket became totally overtaken with processed food. They may even remember before supermarkets were available. And then we can look at during that time when processed food got more and more prominent in our food supply, what has happened to our health. Final important thing that you want to address with your family and with your children is the influence of food advertising on their choices around food and even on the choices that are available, for instance, in their school cafeteria if they're attending school. We don't need to get into the details, perhaps, of all of the shortcomings of the U.S. dietary guidelines, but perhaps your kids will start to notice the difference between the fresh food that you're serving them at home and what they might be getting served in the school cafeteria. And then perhaps they'll start to notice how whenever they're watching television, it seems like almost every commercial during children's programs is around food. These will be important lessons to help them as they get older and start making their own choices around the foods that they are eating. Finally, let's talk about making lifestyle changes that your family can't ignore. And you want to start with small changes in your diet and lifestyle that can help to set an example. Just pick one, perhaps easy thing to change. For instance, if in your family it's normal to be drinking soda every day, perhaps we can cut back on that and then ultimately eliminate the soda for a week and see what the effects that you might notice are. And when you're making these changes, have an open conversation about health, diet, and lifestyle changes with your family. Get them involved. Have them start to identify areas where there may be room for improvement. And as a family, you start to make these choices as to what you want to change. And then you can start to hold each other accountable for implementing the changes. And finally, you want to model healthier habits wherever you can. This can be something like quitting smoking, increasing the amount of activity, and getting regular exercise that can help to inspire your family. Because when you do this together as a family, and when your other family members start to notice the changes that you might be getting from improving your metabolic health, that is going to be way more powerful than any advice that they might get, even from a doctor, or certainly from advertisement on TV. So make sustainable changes with your family. Teach them how to implement it and change the environment in your household. And this is going to set both you and your family up for long-term success. As always, if you have questions or need more information on any of the topics we've discussed, please feel free to ask. You can drop comments below, and please make sure to subscribe to this channel to get more information. And if you have feedback, insights, or suggestions for future topics, I'm here to learn from you, so please let us know. Go to ifixhearts.com to check out all of the resources that we have available to support you and your family's metabolic health.